Everything seemed normal, until it wasn't. One moment, Ben Stiller was sitting across from Jimmy Kimmel talking about his latest project. The next, he was out of his seat, taking off his mic, and walking straight off the stage while the cameras were still rolling. The audience didn't know if it was real or a planned bit. Phones were already out. Clips hit the internet within minutes. Social media went wild. Some were cheering him on. Others thought he'd gone too far. But nobody expected it. Not from Ben Stiller. Not like this. What really happened between Ben Stiller and Jimmy Kimmel that night? Why did things go from a normal interview to a full-blown clash live on national television? This isn't just another celebrity moment. It was raw, unexpected, and uncomfortable. And it raised a lot of questions about respect, boundaries, and where the line is between funny and personal. But before we get to that walkout, before the silence, the standoff, and the chaos backstage, let's go back to the beginning. The night started like any other. A packed studio, bright lights, applause, a comedy star in the building. Everyone thought they knew how it would go. But there were signs, small ones at first, a look, a pause, a shift in energy, and then it exploded. This is the story of what really happened the night Ben Stiller walked off Jimmy Kimmel Live. Let's break it down. It was just another night at Jimmy Kimmel Live. The crowd was in high spirits, the studio buzzing with energy like always. People lined up outside hours before, hoping to get a seat. Inside, the band was warming up, the stage lights were perfect, and the writing team had prepped a tight script. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary. Jimmy Kimmel had done this hundreds of times: get a big star, crack some jokes, throw in a few personal questions, maybe stir the pot just a little for laughs. That's the formula. And it usually works. Ben Stiller was the main guest that night. He was there to promote his new series, a comedy that poked fun at modern life. People were curious about it. He had directed and starred in it, so he had a lot to say. He's been in the game a long time. Zoolander, Night at the Museum, Meet the Parents, A-list stuff, known for his dry, straight-faced humor. He's the kind of guy who doesn't need to try hard to be funny. He just is. But something was different this time. Stiller had been on a long press tour, doing interview after interview, and not all of them had gone well. A few had taken turns into awkward territory, questions about his past, rumors, drama that had nothing to do with the work he was trying to promote. He didn't blow up in those interviews, but word had gotten around. He wasn't in the mood for that kind of talk anymore, not tonight. When he arrived at the studio, he kept things short, said hi to a few crew members, went through hair and makeup, but didn't hang around. People who had seen him on set before said he seemed quiet, focused, maybe a little tired. In the pre-show meeting, he told producers he wanted to stick to the show, the creative process, the cast, the comedy. No personal stuff, no gotcha moments, just the work. The team said they understood. They adjusted some of the questions, took out anything that felt too gossipy. But there was still this feeling in the air. Not full-on stress, but enough that a few staffers took notice. Kimmel was told about the boundaries, keep it light, don't push, but he didn't seem too worried. He and Stiller had history. They'd done this dance before. He figured Ben could take a little teasing. That's what people came for after all. A little edge, a little bite, just enough to make it fun. What nobody realized at the time, if you're still with me and this is hitting home, take a second to hit that subscribe button. It really helps more than you think, and we've got a lot more coming. Was how thin the line really was, and how fast things could fall apart once it was crossed. Right after Jimmy Kimmel finishes his monologue, the audience bursts into applause. The cheers fill the room, creating a buzz that makes you feel like something big is about to happen. Everyone's eyes turn to the side entrance, waiting, and then Ben Stiller walks out. He's got that familiar smile, but it's polite, not warm. He shakes hands with Jimmy, nodding, but there's a little distance in his body language. You get the sense that he's holding something back. The first few moments on air go smoothly. They start by talking about the concept of the show. Jimmy explains how it's meant to be a satirical take on the news, a way to joke about real issues, without being too serious. Ben adds a few thoughts, mostly about how the show tries to push boundaries while still making people laugh. Their tone is calm, even friendly, and it feels like the kind of chat you'd expect between two professionals. Nothing feels out of place yet. Jimmy then throws in a playful jab, a joke aimed lightly at Ben. It's not harsh, more like teasing someone you know well. The audience chuckles, but it's a small reaction, not a big burst of laughter. You can almost see Ben's smile tighten just a little. The mood shifts almost without anyone noticing. The energy in the room drops just a bit. It's like the spark that was there a moment ago flickers and dims. That little joke seems to have put a bit of a wall up between them. Despite the slight tension, the conversation moves on. They talk about the power of satire, how comedy can shine a light on the truth in ways serious news can't. Ben mentions how important it is to stay sharp and not be afraid to call out anyone, even if it makes people uncomfortable. Jimmy agrees but keeps the tone light, trying to keep the mood easygoing. The audience listens, some nodding, some smiling, but the excitement that filled the room earlier is definitely less intense now. What you feel underneath all this polite conversation is that something bigger is about to happen. The real clash, the moment when the conversation will no longer be just jokes and small talk, hasn't arrived yet. But you can sense it coming, like a quiet tension building just below, the surface waiting to break out. The stage is set, and everyone watching knows this is just the calm before the storm. As the interview moves along, Jimmy Kimmel suddenly shifts the topic. His voice gets a little lighter, but there's a clear edge in his tone. He asks Ben Stiller about a rumor that's been floating around, something about Ben and one of his co-stars having tension on set. "So I heard you and actor bumped heads during filming," Jimmy says, flashing a teasing smile. It's the kind of question meant to stir the pot, to catch Ben off guard and get a reaction. Ben's smile vanishes instantly. His eyes narrow, just a bit, and his whole body seems to tighten. Without missing a beat, he cuts the question short. "Let's keep it on the work," Ben says, his voice calm but firm. It's clear he wants no part of the gossip. There's no hesitation or confusion. Ben's message is simple: talk about the project, not the drama. Jimmy, however, isn't ready to drop it. He's used to steering the conversation his way, and this is his show. So, he nudges again, this time with a sharper tone. "Come on, it's just a little fun. Everyone loves a good behind-the-scenes story," he says, grinning like he's inviting Ben to loosen up. But instead of relaxing, Ben's annoyance grows. He leans forward, his body language now more direct and serious. "I'm not here for gossip," he says firmly. His voice is steady, but there's a clear warning there. This topic is off limits. The audience starts to shift in their seats. Some laugh nervously, unsure if this is all part of the act or if Ben is genuinely upset. Others lean in, sensing that something bigger is about to happen. The energy in the room changes. What was light and playful just moments ago now feels charged and uncertain. Jimmy seems to miss the change in mood. Trying to keep the flow, he decides to bring up a more sensitive topic: cancel culture. He references a controversial quote from Ben's past, one that had caused some backlash before. His tone is casual, like he's trying to joke around, but the comment lands heavily in the room. You can almost hear the air grow thick. The audience goes quiet, the tension building. Ben's face hardens. He takes a breath, steadying himself before responding. When he speaks, his voice is calm but powerful. "I came here to talk about something I worked on for years, not to be clickbait," he says, looking directly at Jimmy. His words hit like a weight, and suddenly the whole room feels the shift. This isn't a game anymore. There's a silence that stretches for a few seconds, a pause where no one quite knows what to do next. Then, slowly, you start to see the impact. The tension becomes almost unbearable. Phones come out as people realize this moment is being recorded live. Clips start to spread fast, shared immediately on social media. The clash between Jimmy and Ben is no longer just an interview, it's breaking news. Ben doesn't raise his voice or lose control. Instead, he stays composed, but every word carries weight. He's making it clear that he's not here to be baited into drama or cheap headlines. He wants respect for the work he's done, not to be dragged into gossip or past controversies. Jimmy, for his part, looks a bit off balance. The teasing smirk is gone, replaced by a more serious expression. You can tell he didn't expect this kind of pushback. The audience is frozen, caught between feeling the drama unfold and wondering what will happen next. The moment feels raw and real, not scripted or rehearsed. The cameras keep rolling, capturing every tense second. The energy in the room is thick, almost electric, as viewers realize they're witnessing a clash that could change how the whole interview is remembered. This moment, the breaking point, is the peak of the show's tension. The polite, easy conversation from before is gone. Instead, there's this high-stakes conflict that grabs everyone's attention. It's not just about entertainment anymore, no, it's about respect, control, and setting boundaries. And as the clips start to spread online, people everywhere start talking about what just happened, debating who was right, who was wrong, and what it means for both men going forward. Jimmy Kimmel tries to steer the moment back on track. There's a slight pause, then he flashes a tight smile and says, "All right, let's talk about your favorite scene from the show." It's a clear attempt to cool things down, shift the energy, and bring the focus back to the project. Ben Stiller starts to answer. His voice is steady, but there's a weight in his tone that wasn't there before. He begins describing a scene he's proud of, something that meant a lot to him during filming. But halfway through his sentence, he stops. He pauses, looks down for a second, then back up. Something shifts. The frustration that had been bubbling just beneath the surface finally rises. "This is the problem," he says. His voice isn't raised, but it cuts through the silence like a knife. You invite artists on your show to talk about their work, and then you turn it into a circus. He doesn't sound angry for attention. He sounds disappointed, tired, like he's been holding this in for a while. There's a beat of silence. Then, without any drama or extra words, Ben reaches down and unclips the microphone from his shirt. It's a simple motion, but it feels heavy, final. He looks out toward the audience, and not at Jimmy, not at the cameras, and says directly, "You deserve better than this." It's not shouted. It's not sarcastic. Just honest. The audience reacts in different ways. Some people gasp quietly, others clap, unsure if it's real or part of the bit. A few start filming, still thinking, maybe this is just a very convincing sketch. But deep down, most people in the room know, this isn't a joke, this is actually happening. Ben turns and walks off the stage. No wave, no smile, no looking back. He's just gone. A few seconds pass, and then the show abruptly cuts to a commercial break, much later than it should have. The timing's off, everything's off. It's clear no one behind the scenes was prepared for this. When the cameras cut back, Jimmy is sitting there alone. The desk feels bigger now. The crowd is quiet. He looks stunned, like he's still processing what just happened. For the first time all night, there's no joke ready, no smooth transition, just silence, and the weight of what just happened hanging in the air. Backstage, everything is a mess. As soon as the show cuts to commercial, producers rush around, trying to figure out what just happened. Some are whispering, others are on their phones trying to get answers. Was this part of the script? Was Ben serious? Should they issue a statement or wait it out? No one's sure, and every second that passes makes it feel bigger. Kimmel stays in his chair a little longer than usual before walking off quietly, clearly thrown off. The control room is buzzing. Someone's already checking how much of the walkout went live. Meanwhile, outside the studio, paparazzi waiting near the exit catch Ben Stiller leaving early. He's not surrounded by publicists. No security detail pushing cameras away. Just him walking toward the car. His face says it all, calm but completely done, no rage, no show for the cameras. Just someone who made a decision and isn't looking back. Within an hour, our Ben Stiller is trending across Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. The internet moves fast, and this clip is everywhere. A dozen different angles of the walkout hit social media, most taken by people in the audience. One video catches his line, "You deserve better," and it goes viral instantly. Reactions flood in. Some people are on Ben's side completely. "Legend, set boundaries," one tweet says, racking up thousands of likes. Others post clips of celebrities losing their cool in interviews, adding Stiller to the list of stars who stood their ground. Memes follow, showing him unplugging the mic with captions like, "When you've had enough of fake smiles." But not everyone sees it that way. Some call it an overreaction. "It's a comedy show, relax," one person writes. Others accuse him of taking himself too seriously. The internet splits right down the middle, half calling him brave, half calling him thin-skinned. Ben's team doesn't say a word. No interviews, no public statements, no tweets. They stay quiet, choosing instead to focus on promoting the series, the very project Ben came on the show to talk about. All his socials keep posting clips, trailers, and behind-the-scenes shots. Not a single mention of the drama. Then something interesting happens. The series starts trending on streaming platforms. Within 24 hours, its numbers jump. People are watching, maybe out of curiosity, maybe out of support. Either way, the walkout didn't just stir drama. It gave the show more attention than any promo ever could. The next night, Jimmy Kimmel walks on stage like usual, but something's different. The jokes are lighter, the tone more careful. There's no risky punchlines, no awkward celebrity teasers. He keeps it safe, sticking to headlines and silly stories. Everyone watching knows why. The tension from the Stiller walkout still hangs in the air, even if no one's saying it out loud. For a full week, Jimmy avoids bringing it up. Then finally, during a later show, he breaks the silence, kind of. Mid-monologue, with a smirk, he says, "Note to self, don't mess with Zoolander." The audience laughs, but not as loud as usual. There's a hesitation in the room, like people aren't sure if they're supposed to laugh or wait for more, but that's all he gives. No apology, no explanation. Just a wink and a quick shift to the next joke. It's clear he's trying to move on, but the moment hasn't really passed for everyone else. Behind the scenes, the industry is buzzing. Writers, producers, and publicists are all talking. Some insiders say Jimmy crossed a line. They point out that pushing a guest into personal or sensitive territory, especially when they've clearly said no, isn't smart, especially now, when audiences are more aware of how celebrity interviews are handled. He knew Ben wasn't playing along, and he kept going. One anonymous producer told a media blog, "That's on Jimmy." Others take the opposite view. They argue that Stiller should have expected this kind of banter. "It's Kimmel," a talent agent said on a podcast. "You don't go on his show if you want a serious sit-down. You know what you're signing up for." It sparks a whole conversation across platforms, podcasts, YouTube commentary channels, even roundtable panels on entertainment shows. Everyone seems to have a take. The whole thing becomes a case study in how much the rules have changed. Where's the line between funny and disrespectful? Are talk shows meant to challenge celebrities or just help them sell their projects? What happens when a guest says, "Enough," and walks out? In the end, there's no clear answer. But one thing is certain, this wasn't just another awkward TV moment, it struck a nerve. And now everyone's watching a little more closely. So what really happened that night? Was it a comedian pushing too far, or an actor standing his ground? Depending on who you ask, it was either a much-needed stand for artistic respect, or a celebrity who just couldn't take a joke. But no matter which side you're on, one thing's clear. That walkout wasn't just a TV moment. It hit something deeper. It wasn't just about Jimmy Kimmel and Ben Stiller. It was about where we draw the line between humor and disrespect, between a bit and a boundary. It made people in the industry stop and think, what do we expect from interviews now? Are talk shows still safe spaces to promote work, or just setups for viral clips? It also reminded us that even famous people have limits. Stiller didn't yell. He didn't storm off. He said his piece, looked the audience in the eye, and left. That silence, that walk, said more than any heated debate could have. So now it's your turn. What do you think? Did Stiller do the right thing? Or was it too much for a late-night show that's built on teasing? Hit that like button if you're still thinking about it. Drop your take in the comments, Mike. We read all of them. And share this video if you think these moments matter more than just a headline.